Despite all the negative things that are being said about Meta and Facebook as a company, it is still the most effective advertising platform for e-commerce businesses in 2023. And in this video, I'm going to give you my top 3 things that you can do in order to scale and remain profitable during this year. But first, if you don't know who I am, my name is Ole and I run strandmedia.agency, and we help brands in the 10 to 100k per month range scale with paid ads on social media. So the first thing that we are doing is applying the 80-20 principle to our clients' businesses. If you're not familiar with the 80-20 principle, it's basically just focusing on the 20% within your business that generates 80% of the profit or 80% of the revenue. And you can apply that to a lot of the aspects in your business, the products that you sell. It's not necessarily that all of them bring in the same amount of revenue. I'm sure you have a few best sellers that actually are just a very tiny fraction of your product line, but they bring in the majority of your revenue. And the same probably goes for your customers. You probably have some customers that are way more valuable than others. You have some offers that work way better than others, and you also have some periods throughout the year that work way better for you than the others. And if you spend some time analyzing the data within your business and you figure out what is the 20% of the products, customers, offers, creatives, campaigns, etc., then you can kind of double down on that and you can generate even more revenue in the next year. So if it's a specific type of offer that you run, you can kind of angle that in different ways, but keep using the same format because you know that this is the type of offer that brings in you the best results. And another really important thing that we do for our clients is basically just focusing on the best performing products in the top of funnel campaigns. So that means in the campaigns on Facebook that you target towards cold audiences, towards people that don't know about your business or brand yet, we only focus on the products that are best at converting new customers. Now, once these customers have bought their first product from you and made a transaction with you, it's easier to convert them again with an upsell or another product in the future. But if you run campaigns where you target existing customers, you can basically include more of your products in there because you want to upsell them into other categories, product lines, etc. But in the top of funnel campaigns, it's really important to only use the products that are the best at generating new customers to your business. Another way you can apply the 80-20 principle is basically look at how you distributed your budget throughout 2022 and figure out if there's ways you can optimize this for 2023, because it's probably going to look a bit similar this year if you sell something that is seasonal and the demand fluctuates throughout the year depending on what time of the year it is. So as an example of this, I'm going to show you 2 graphs where you see the percentage of the budget spent compared to the percentage of sales generated throughout the year. So as you can see here, it's definitely January and February and October, November and December that are the best months for this e-commerce brand. But as you can see, the majority of the budget is actually being spent on the months where we have the lowest sales. There should definitely be a better budget distribution for this e-commerce brand. So what they should do for the next year is to basically use the budget from these months in the Q3 and use them on Q4, because that's where they get most of their sales. And that's also probably where they will have the better return on ad spend. Now, if you want to create the same chart for your business, you can let me know in the comments below, and I'll actually send you the template of how you can generate this chart in just 3 to 2 minutes. Easily just export some data from Facebook and upload it into Excel, and I'll give you the template. So let me know in the comments down below if you want this, and I'll send it to you. Another way that you can use the 80-20 principle is to focus on the 20% of your customers that bring in 80% of the revenue. Now, if you have a recurring business model where it makes sense that your customers come back to you over time, now it's probably likely that a few of your customers came back more often than others. So what you would do for 2023 is basically find out who these customers are and send out more newsletters and SMS to them and try to re-engage them to make new orders throughout 2023 as well. So if you have new launches, new offers, or if it even makes sense for them to buy more of what they already bought, you can send out more personalized offers to them and generate more revenue from these customers from organic source such as newsletters, SMS, where it doesn't cost money for you to generate new revenue from these customers. You probably already know this, but it's super important to maximize the amount of revenue and profit from your existing customers in order to actually stay profitable while scaling, because as you generate more revenue from organic sources, you can also spend more on acquiring new customers. Now, the second thing that we are doubling down on for our e-commerce clients in 2023 is creating better creative creatives. Now, if you want to create better creatives, you first have to define what better means for your business. So depending on what industry you're in, you're going to have to figure out what kind of style and format works the best for you and double down on those kind of creatives. Now, for example, if you are running a cosmetics brand, that might mean that you should focus more on UGC content where you have better hooks and you follow the trends that are on TikTok and Instagram Reels, and you also have really good call to actions with offers in those videos, and you make sure that you follow all the best practices of what is working best on social media at the time. Now, if you're unsure what kind of creative you should focus on, I would highly recommend to actually do some research and maybe even spy on some of your competitors if they're doing better than you. And you can also look at some of the bigger brands because they can spend way more on research, content production, and all of that stuff. So if they're running something, it's probably a reason behind it. So you can kind of try to not copy, but get some inspiration from that and apply it to your own business in a creative way. So one way you can do this is just go to their Facebook page and look at the ad library section, and then you can see all of the ads that they're currently running. Now, one of the main reasons why we actually doubled down on creatives this year is because the machine learning on Facebook and Instagram and the targeting is becoming so optimized by all the data that they have gathered and AI. And because of that, we see that the majority of the value that we can create inside Facebook Business Manager actually just comes from making better creatives for the clients. So this is definitely something you should do as well. Focus more on the creative, and the targeting has become way more easy to figure out. So where you can have your competitive advantage is actually on the creative side. Now, number 3 is knowing your numbers. So this is something that we started to focus a lot more on in 2022, because so many times when we took on a new partnership with a client, they didn't have the full control over their numbers as they should have. They didn't necessarily know how much they can spend on acquiring a new customer because they didn't really look at their historic data. So they had no idea of what their lifetime value was. Now, this is a big issue because if you don't know how much a customer is worth, then how can you know how much you can spend on acquiring new ones without losing money? So what we started doing last year for all of our clients was building out reports where we integrated all of the ad spend that they spent on Google, Facebook, Instagram ads, TikTok ads, Snapchat ads, whatever platform they were spending ads on. All of that was going into one report, and that same report also had a full overview of how much revenue and how much sales they have done in that same period. And now with that report, we have one specific number, which is called the marketing efficiency ratio. Now that basically just shows us the ratio between how much money we generate per money spent on ads. So how many dollars of revenue that we generate per dollar spent on ads. Now, the reason why you want to have such a specific number is because you can use this number and compare it to your break-even ROAS or your break-even marketing efficiency ratio that you need to have in order to not lose money on your business. So if you feel like this is getting a bit technical now, this is probably a reason why you should keep watching the video, because you need to know every month how much sales volume, like how much revenue you need to have per month, and to what marketing efficiency ratio you need with this amount of revenue in order to just break even. When you know that number, you can basically plot that into your report and make sure that if you're too far away from that 1 month, you scale down your campaigns, you try out some new things, you launch some new offers in order to always optimize and try to hit that goal a minimum at break even every month. Now, in the months where you have a lower amount of sales naturally because of just the demand in the market, or if you sell a seasonal product where it's not a lot of demand for it, you still want to use this number because you want to try to hit the break even in those months. Now, the reason why you want to try to hit break even is because you want to acquire as many customers as possible during this period without losing any money. Now, over time, if you keep doing this in the months where your demand increases, all of these new customers that you have generated will probably come back to you if you have an amazing offer in that time period. And you will also generate a lot of new customers as well during that time, and you will make a lot more profit and your business overall will grow. Now, some other numbers that you should really know is the average lifetime value of your customers. You need to know how much they're worth to you. You also need to know the average order value, so how much people spend in your store on average per order. You also need to know the conversion rate of your e-commerce site. So you need to know how many of your visitors that come to your site actually convert. And you also need to know the customer return rate. So how many of your customers are returning within a certain amount of time. Now, the reason why you want to know this is because you want to compare your numbers to your industry average so you can know if you have the potential to optimize. So if you're running an e-commerce clothing brand and you see that the average conversion rate is 1.6%, but you are at 1.2%. That means that you probably should do something to get your conversion rate up to that level, minimum and even above. Now, if you're running an e-commerce store and you found this video valuable and you want more help from me, you can join my free Facebook group and you will automatically get an invite to a free call with me where we can go through your e-commerce site and look through the conversion rate optimization stuff that I had mentioned. We can also look through your ads and see if there's some potential to optimize there. And we can also talk about your business strategy for 2023 and line out a plan if you don't have one yet. So I'll leave the link to my Facebook group below. Make sure you join it. It's still free. You can also ask any questions about Facebook and Instagram ads or e-commerce ads as you want in the group, and I will answer each of them in the comments. And if you watched the video all the way to the end, that probably means that you liked the video and you got some value out of it. So make sure you click that like button and help me out to grow my YouTube channel. And also make sure you subscribe so you get future videos. I'm also going to leave a link to my newsletter below, which you can join, and then I will send out a short text about these videos every week when I post them. I'm also sending out some case studies every month where I look at things that we did in order to get really good results, and you can basically just take use of that in your own business. So if you want more free value, make sure you join my email list below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.